So joining me from the United Kingdom is a diaspora Nigerian. He's Nick Agule. Nick Agule is a chartered accountant. He's an international oil and gas expert. He's also a public affairs analyst. But my interest in Nick this afternoon is the article he wrote from London, which has gone viral. And the article is entitled The Road to Zimbabwe. And that article had to do with the accusation by the Edo State governor that the federal government was printing money and sharing it at the monthly allocation to states and local governments. And Nick weighed in with that article, and that article is making a lot of waves. Nick Agule, my pleasure to welcome you to the Signature Show.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, Nick, let's start from the beginning because I read your article. A lot of Nigerians read your article, and you started by talking about what it means to print money. Is it normal for central banks and countries to print money? And if it's legal, if it's proper, how can it be done and it will be valuable for that country?
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, indeed, it is legal, and it is actually one of the main duties of a central bank of a country to issue the currency of the country and print it. So like I said in the article, there are two ways the central bank can print money. And the first is print the physical cash, which we use, which are the banknotes and coins. And then secondly, they can also print digital money. Now, in the printing of the notes and coins, central banks do that, taking into cognizance money supply. They're also thinking about cost because it costs money to print those notes. And then generally they put currency management and everything into perspective. That determines how much currencies they are going to, how much banknotes they are going to print. When it comes to printing digital money, the central banks can also print digital money, but they have to manage the process carefully, because if they mismanage the process when it comes to digital money, instead of helping the economy, it could actually ruin the economy. So in direct answer to your question, yes, it is within the ambit of the central bank, in this case, the Central Bank of Nigeria, to print money.
Nigeria has been said to have printed money, and the money printed was for monthly allocation. Would you say that will help the economy?
That will ruin the economy. What has happened is that the Edo State governor blew the whistle that Nigeria was printing money to fund the federation account. Information that we have got thereafter from the Minister of Finance is that no printed money has been used in funding the federation account. So we believe that the central bank governor has confirmed that indeed the bank is printing money. So the question that was left unanswered was, if the central bank governor says money is being printed and the Minister of Finance says the money is not going into the federation account, where then is the money going? That answer was provided by the head of budget office, Mr. Ben Akabueze. I watched him live on TV where he said the money was going into financing the federal government budget. Now, if I might explain that a bit for Nigerians to understand, the federation account is the pot where all the arms and tires of government in Nigeria come to take money. So when we sell oil and we make money from import duties and taxes paid by companies, all that money goes into a pot that is called the federation account. Every month, the federal government, the states and local government come to this pot and take what is their allocation at a meeting that is called Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC. And this money goes to the three arms of government: executive, legislature, and the judiciary. Now, when the states take the money, the federal government take the money, they also now make their own budget, which is a statement of their expenditure and revenue. So the federal government makes its own annual budget and says, I am going to get this amount of money, which will come from the federation account and from other sources, and this is what I'm going to spend. Now, this is where the controversy is. The governor of Edo State said the money was going into the federation account, which is the pot for Nigeria. The Minister of Finance has debunked that. They have provided data for the federation account sharing allocation for March, and it shows that no money came from printed money. Now that the head of budget office has said that the money is going to fund the federal government's own pot, which is the federal government budget, we're back to square one. Actually, the governor of Edo State is confirmed to have said the truth, because we're just dealing with semantics here. If the money is going to fund the federal government budget, then it's as good as the money entered the federation account and the federal government took 100% of it without sharing to any other tier or arm of government, and they took it to the federal government budget, which is their pot. So whether the money entered the federation account or entered the federal government budget, it means precisely the same thing. It is not right for the Nigerian economy.
Let me just ask you what is confusing a lot of Nigerians or bothering them, if I will say that. How do you back these printed monies? Is it just printed, or is there some kind of financial backing, either from government savings, either from future government earnings, that will make it, that will convert it to real money, in quotes? How do you back a printed, or how do you back printed money? How do you back it up? How do you make it legal currency?
Okay, so there are two ways to it. The way this printed money works is, it's just like if you own a bank and you are in dire need of money, and you just push a call through to the managing director of the bank and tell him that, can you put 2 billion in my account? I need to spend it. You didn't say anything. Nobody paid you any money. You created no value, but because the bank belongs to you, the MD just put 2 billion in your account, and then you got an alert and you started paying people money from there. That is one half of printing the money, where you increase the money flow by injecting money in the economy. The second half is, and going directly to your question, is that that money is not backed up with anything, but you have to use that money to create output. So if you use that money to create output, then you are fine, because that output can then be what backs up that money. But if you use that money to consume, then you are actually killing the economy. What you are actually doing is you are injecting poison into someone who is sick at the hospital battling for their life.
So you don't expect the person to get better. He can only get worse.
You only kill the person. So you have to use the money to back up output. And this is what I explained in my article, to say that printing money is legitimate. It's an economic policy that is being used by governments around the world. It is not what you use always. You use it only when you are in difficulty, in serious financial difficulty, and you want to punch your way out of it. So what you do is that the central bank just credits the account of the government, credits the account, and they can credit the account to 1 trillion naira. The government must not use that money to fund budget, must not use it to fund federation accounts. Because if they do that, you will see inflation going up. And that is what is happening to our economy now.
It's already up.
Yes, it's already happening. Government must only use that money to create output. So let's say where we are now, we had a pandemic, the Nigerian economy is struggling. And so government decided to print 10 trillion naira. And they used that 10 trillion to invest in agriculture. And agriculture produced so much food for Nigeria, created so much jobs for Nigerians. That will be okay, because the printed money has now created value of its own. It has created output to back it up. But if government uses that money to pay salaries, what that means is that the output that is in Nigeria now has not increased. People now have more money in their pockets. So that more money is chasing the output that is there. That means the prices of what is there will start going up. And that is what is being experienced in Nigeria now.
So it's like money going down the drain that brings no value to the system, makes the system even worse.
I gave an example. I wanted to connect with Nigerians, and I'm actually very happy that I have connected with Nigerians. I brought matters of economic theory down to the layman's level so that they can really understand it. There are Nigerians that watch local news, international news. They hear things like bonds. They hear things about, buyback of bonds and all of that, that probably they didn't understand what was happening. I brought that down and I demonstrated it. I said, look, assuming we have an economy that is producing 1,000 yams, okay? And the money supply in the economy is 100,000 naira. That means 1 yam will go for 100 naira if we use all the money to buy the 1,000 yams. If government now prints money and increases the money supply to 1 million, the money supply has gone to 1 million, the quantity of yams being produced has not increased, it's still 1,000. Automatically, it means you have to need 1,000 naira to buy a yam, because 1 million is chasing 1,000 yams. 1 yam will become 1,000. But if government use that money to increase output of yams to say 20,000 yams, that means 1 million we buy 20,000 yams at only 50 naira. So you can see inflation has been tamed, output has increased, and there's higher quality of life for everybody. Because people who couldn't afford yam at 100 naira can now
afford it at 50.
At 50 naira.
Okay, Nick, let's talk about your views on how we can turn around our economy, which is solutions to Nigeria's economy. Because I'll tell you something, a lot of businessmen in Nigeria, especially those that are import dependent, are having a very hard time. Somebody brings in a car for $5,000 when you aggregate every spending. And then he has to sell that car for about $10,000, everything put together, for him to be able to go back and buy the same car, because on a daily basis, the naira is on a spiral fall. Looking at that and other challenges that our economy is having right now, what are your solutions? What are your opinion? How should we be going? How should our government be behaving right now in terms of managing our economy?
Thank you very much. That is actually the most important thing, because what has happened has happened. If government was printing money, they have already printed the money. If they use the money for any purpose, it has been used. So whatever we are saying is just post-mortem. It's not really going to help anything. The real important thing that we should be talking about is, what do we then do going forward? And this is the reason why your question is very important in terms of what we're discussing. And going forward, the simple answer to your question is that the Nigerian currency that used to be at par with the United Kingdom pound sterling and the dollar, or was even stronger than these currencies, has now tumbled in value, that the pound is now exchanging at 600 plus in the parallel market for £1. And the simple reason for that, sir, is that we turned ourselves from a productive economy to a consumption economy. That is just the simple reason. If you watch, I don't know if you have seen it, but I have seen a video clip that is going around where General Gowon, as head of state in the 70s, was commissioning the Peugeot
automobile factory in Kaduna.
Automobile, and they said he was going to commission the Volkswagen plant in Lagos, in Badagry, where I've been. At that point, it meant Nigeria was consuming what we're producing. We didn't even need money, as you have described, to go and buy vehicles from somewhere. These vehicles were being produced in Nigeria. The only thing we needed to buy it was naira, and we're buying it with naira. And because we have stopped producing, this is why there is now a need for an importer to go to another country to go and buy a vehicle to bring into Nigeria. And it is because he wants to go and buy in a different currency. That is why he needs the US dollar. And because naira is now chasing the US dollar, that is why the cost of the dollar with respect to the Nigerian naira is rising. It's all economics. If there is a high demand for a product, the cost of that product is going to go up. So if we stop demanding the dollar, the price of the dollar will crash with regards to the naira. And part of the solutions I profiled in my article was that Nigeria can never do well. Our economy can never do well if we continue with the volume of power supply that we're giving to the economy. I gave the example of Qatar, which is a gas producing country like us. They produce their gas, they don't burn it. They don't set fire to it. They convert their gas to electricity, and the rest of the gas, they liquefy it for export. So Qatar is one of the world's largest exporters of gas. Come to Nigeria, a gas producing country like Qatar. What are we doing? When we produce our gas, we set it on fire. So as you and I are speaking, the gas is burning away all over in the Niger Delta. 24/7, the gas is burning away.
Creating environmental challenges.
It is creating environmental challenges. It is losing money. We're like a farmer who struggled and did everything and went to the farm, and when he harvested yams and brought them home, he set fire on the yams. And the children are there hungry. That is what we are doing. Because if I take you back to Qatar, Qatar is a country of 2.8 million people, 2.8 million. So probably the population of Qatar is, even Lagos is 15 million. So I'm looking for a city in Nigeria of 2.8 million people. Probably Abuja is a bit more than that. But that's the population of Qatar. And Qatar is generating 8,500 megawatts of electricity. Nigeria, a country of 200 million people, is generating 4,000. So Qatar is generating 3,500 megawatts of electricity for 1 million people, for every 1 million people. That is what we are producing, generating for about 200 million people. There is no economy in the world that is going to do well with that level of electricity. There is none. No matter what we do, if we want the Nigerian economy to grow with 4,000 megawatts of electricity, we are actually saying a pilot should take an aircraft into the air without fuel, with zero fuel in that aircraft. No matter how experienced that pilot is, no matter how competent that pilot is not going to take that aircraft into the air. And that is why we have had the most competent, not Nigerians, the most competent economics in the whole world, like Okonjo-Iweala. She is the Director General of the entire World Trade Organization today. We brought her to Nigeria. She could not lift the economy up. Why? Because the economy simply does not have the required electricity power to move up. It's
Okay,
impossible.
that is power. You also talked about transportation.
Transportation, in fact, you try to even imagine how Nigerians are moving about. Because if you come to an economy like the UK here, where I am, every single village, I'm not talking about city or town, every single village has a train station. There is no village in this United Kingdom that does not have a train station. If you go to towns like Abuja should have at least 50 to 100 train stations. Because Durumi should be a train station, Garki should be a train station, AYA should be a train station, train stations everywhere in one city. Nigeria does not have rail. And this is where another problem comes from. I recently read in the news or heard in the news that Anambra State is building an airport. And you look at Anambra, you look at Asaba, there's an airport. You look at Enugu, there's an airport. You look at Owerri, there's an airport. If you go further afield to Port Harcourt, there's an airport. Benin has an airport. So there are airports around that place. What is it that Anambra indigenes need as far as air transportation is concerned that they won't get in these nearby airports? So what is expected is governors should take their minds away from building airports. In the whole of Nigeria, there are not more than 100 aircrafts. How can we be spending so much money building an airport for less than 100 planes? Governors should start building railways. If the governor of Anambra State built a rail line linking Onitsha to Awka to Nnewi for a start, the governor could have got millions of Anambrans boarding those trains from Onitsha and traveling to Nnewi, traveling to Awka. Millions every day. People are boarding these trains, going up and down, transporting their goods, transporting themselves. And
returning the
investment
the
immediately.
investment. Yes.
Immediately. And then the governor of Enugu will build from Enugu and connect to the one in Anambra. Governor of Delta will build from Delta and connect to Anambra then it will connect to Imo, connect to Abia, connect to Ebonyi, connect to Rivers. And before you know what's happening, the whole of South have connected themselves on rail, such that you cannot transport yourself from Asaba to Port Harcourt, or from Yenagoa to Nnewi, or from Nnewi to Enugu, because we have millions of people who are ready to board these planes, these trains. Instead of building airports, the airports that are there in Asaba, in Enugu, are lying fallow. They are not being used. So this is one thing that Nigerian governors need to begin to think about. All the governors in Nigeria should start. And the beauty about the rail is that you can do 1 kilometer of rail, just 1 kilometer, and put wagon on it, and it will start working. And as you have money, you continue to increase it. You continue to increase it. It's not like an airport that you must finish the runway, finish the terminal, finish everything before the first flight will land. When it comes to rail, you can just build from Onitsha to Oka, which is a short distance. Just that for a start, before you begin to push it towards Nnewi. And it will have monumental impact on the economy. It will even show investors that there is business in Nigeria where we can go and invest. And before you know what's happening, imagine that if like I talked about the United Kingdom, where every village is on rail, we cannot be the United Kingdom overnight, because they started a long time ago. But Nigeria should at least have all the 36 state capitals and the FCT connected with rail for a start. Just for a start. Nick, before we begin to connect all the other towns and cities.
Nick, I think this is something a lot of our leaders have not thought about, because I'm just imagining in my head as you're speaking, when the man in Enugu does from Enugu to Oka, Oka to Andaman does from Oka to Onitsha, and that person does Asaba to Onitsha, what it will be. But because we don't have so much time, I guess we'll have more of you on this program as the days go. Let's conclude this conversation with the title you gave your article, where you said, "The Road to Zimbabwe." And I got so scared, because I know that in Zimbabwe, at some point, and even now, that people carry baskets, and Ghana must go of Zimbabwean currency to be able to, to afford $1. Is that what you foresee for Nigeria today?
If the federal government of Nigeria does not apply brakes immediately on printing of money, we are surely and sure-footed on our way to Zimbabwe. Let me tell you the reason why. You don't print money in an inflationary economy. In an inflationary economy, you try to draw money out of the economy. And that is when government issue bonds. They issue bonds so that people will buy the bonds, and government will mop excess liquidity out of the economy of government. The Nigerian government is applying the wrong medicine to our ailment. We are in an inflationary economy. How can you be in an inflationary economy and be injecting more cash into that economy by printing money? That means you're actually giving poison to this sick person. So what the Nigerian government must do is this. The Nigerian government must immediately stop printing money, because our economy will not support it. The inflationary figures that were released by MBS last said we're on 18-point-something%. And food inflation alone was 22-point-something%. That is very dangerous. It means as income levels are static, families can't feed their children. So what Nigeria must do, and this message must go directly to the federal government, and Nigerians must stand up and ask the federal government to stop printing money. Instead, let them sell the Port Harcourt refinery for $1. I'm putting my finger up, $1 single, sell it. Whoever buys it will bring their money to repair the refinery and start producing. Let Nigeria turn that $1.5 billion they have set aside to repair that refinery. Let them convert that money to naira and set up agricultural production farms in every local government of Nigeria. I calculated it, 736 million naira per local government, all 774 local government. It will create jobs. Our youth will start driving the tractors to plow our youth will be there planting, they will be harvesting, they will be processing the agricultural product, they will be driving the trucks that brings out the products to the market, and all of that in every local government. Let them not waste the money. The money should be used. The money should not be sent to the states. It should not be sent to the local government. It should be used in buying farm equipment, because our people are still farming with their raw energies, bending down to farm. They need equipment so that instead of a man who is harvesting 5 bags of rice now with his raw energy, is able to harvest 50 bags of rice with a tractor. That man's economy has changed from 5 bags to 50 bags. His economy has changed. Once he is now harvesting 50 bags, he will pay the education for his children. He will pay for his health care. He will put a roof on his head. He won't even need government again.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Amos, thank you for, sharing your thoughts with us. And I do believe that our leaders are listening, those managing our economy are listening, and Nigerians are also listening and doing their best to take their fate in their hands. Because I think that we can't just continue to sit on the fence. And this takes me, and that's my final question, Nick. George Floyd in the UK, I saw an article you wrote. What message for Nigeria?
The message I have for Nigerians on George Floyd is that it took one citizen, a 17-year-old girl, to do her citizen job of posting the video of the killing of George Floyd on the internet. And Americans stood up and they fought for justice. Nigerians must stand up and fight for our country. We cannot be docile. We can't sit and watch. The UK, where I am, their democracy is more than 1,000 years old. Yet the citizens are fighting day and night before the government is able to deliver good governance. Good governance does not come on a platter of gold. If we ever imagined that the people who are in government will suddenly stop doing the things they are doing now and start delivering good governance without our pushing them into it, we are joking. And that must stop. We saw the example. We had SARS all our lives. And when Nigerians stood up to protest, immediately the federal government scrapped SARS. That is how citizens participate in democracy. Democracy is not just about executive, legislature, and the judiciary. It also involves the people. That is the fourth arm of government. So we must punch our weight. We can't sit docile. Everybody must go out and register and have their PVCs. Gone are the days when we said, I don't do politics. Politics is a dirty game. How can politics be a dirty game where politics is the place where the food comes out for us? If a kitchen is dirty and you sat in the sitting room expecting to eat clean food from that kitchen, you are not serious. We must all go into that kitchen and sanitize it. So the minimum level is everybody must have their PVC. And those who are able, join political parties, be part of decision making, be part of selecting the candidates that stand for election. And if you can, then the highest level is stand for political office. Our good people are in banks, in telecoms, in the universities and all of that. Let's come out from where we are into politics, because no matter what we are achieving in our individual capacities, it's not going to count too much if governance is not delivering.
Nick,
So we must be part of the governance process.
this is a good place to end this. I've been speaking with Nick Agule, chartered accountant, international oil and gas expert, and a public affairs analyst. Nick, I'm sure you'll be on this platform again with us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time you have given me. Have a nice day.
And you too. Bye.